How does conception occur and work? Conception occurs when a sperm cell from a fertile man swims up through the vagina and into the uterus of a woman and joins with the woman's egg cell as it travels down one of the fallopian tubes from the ovary to the uterus. As the fertilized egg continues to move down the fallopian tube, it begins to divide into 2 cells, then 4 cells, then more cells as the division continues. About a week after the sperm has fertilized the fertilized egg has traveled to the uterus and has become a growing cluster of about 100 cells called a blastocyst. The blastocyst then attaches itself to the lining of the uterus, the endometrium. This attachment process is called implantation. Release of the hormones estrogen and progesterone cause the endometrium to thicken, which provides the nutrients the blastocyst needs to grow and eventually develop into a baby. As cells continue to divide, some developing into the baby, others forming the nourishment and oxygen supply structure called the placenta, hormones are released that signal to the body that a baby is growing inside the uterus. These hormones also signal the uterus to maintain its lining rather than shedding it. This means that a woman doesn't have a period that month, which may be the first way a woman knows she's pregnant. How does conception work? Each month, your body goes through a reproductive cycle that can end in one of 2 ways. You will either have a menstrual period or become pregnant. This cycle is continuously happening during your reproductive years, from puberty in your teen years to menopause at around age 50. In a cycle that ends with pregnancy, there are several steps. First, a group of eggs, called oocytes, gets ready to leave the ovary for ovulation, release of the egg. The eggs develop in small, fluid-filled cysts called follicles. Think of these follicles as small containers for each immature egg. Out of this group of eggs, one will become mature and continue on through the cycle. This follicle then suppresses all the other follicles in the group. The other follicles stop growing at this point. The mature follicle now opens and releases the egg from the ovary. This is ovulation. Ovulation generally happens about 2 weeks before your next menstrual period begins. It's generally in the middle of your cycle. After ovulation, the opened, ruptured follicle develops into a structure called the corpus luteum. This secretes or releases the hormones progesterone and estrogen. The progesterone helps prepare the endometrium, lining of the uterus. This lining is the place where a fertilized egg settles to develop. If you don't become pregnant during a cycle, this lining is what's shed during your period. On average, fertilization happens about 2 weeks after your last menstrual period. When the sperm penetrates the egg, changes occur in the protein coating of the egg to prevent other sperm from entering. At the moment of fertilization, your baby's genetic makeup is complete, including its sex. The gender of your baby depends on what sperm fertilizes the egg at the moment of conception. Generally, women have a genetic combination of XX and men have XY. As the mother, you provide each egg with an X. Each sperm can either be an X or a Y. If the fertilized egg and sperm is a combination of an X and a Y, it's a boy. If there are 2 X's, it's a girl.